The IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama is a near-perfect mix of experienced drivers and young chargers who, in the not-too-distant future, are hoping to be called professional racers and earn their living from the sport. We're more than halfway through the season now, and the championship picture is beginning to take shape. This weekend, the challenge is the twisting, turning, rising and falling circuit that is VIRginia International Raceway. Nestled on the Virginia and North Carolina border, it's a lovely place to come and a fabulous place to go racing. Jeremy Shaw is alongside me, John Hindhoff, and we are surrounded by Porsches, not just on the racetrack, but in the Porsche Platz, where Porsche aficionados have brought their cars out for a little run and to support their favourite drivers. The circuit itself has been around since the 1950s, although remarkably, in 1974 it closed down and we almost lost the facility forever. Thanks to the current ownership group, the 17 corners and 3¼ miles, well, a little over actually, has been restored to better than its former glory. One man has dominated Porsche GT3 Cup racing in the last month or so. That's Zachary Robichon on pole.
Yeah, you know, we had a good race yesterday. We were able to lead every lap and hoping to do the same today. The car's great, a little bit different conditions now. We had all that rain last night, so it'll be interesting to see how the track evolves. I have a feeling from the beginning to the end of the race, the car's gonna be very different, so it'll be interesting to see if some of the other competitors or even ourselves are really quick at the beginning or at the end, but I'm sure I'm confident in the car and the team, so I look forward to a good race.
Platinum class cars have black mirrors and number panels. They're the Gen 2 cars. The slightly older cars in the Gold Cup have yellow mirrors, yellow headlights and yellow number panels. Well, Zachary's already told us what happened at the front of the field. The white and light blue number 19 disappears and is never headed. All the action going on behind. Roman De Angelis and Anthony Imperato getting together at turn 1, both of them losing positions. Jason Lee just outbraking himself coming down to the hog pen at turn 17, but he would continue. A bold overtaking manoeuvre from the number 5 of Rob Ferriol. He's got it done, he's gone past Carrazzo. Oh, no he hasn't. Charlie Luck and Alan Metney making contact at the top of the hill at the roller coaster. Charlie Luck being assessed a penalty for that one, and we finished behind the GT3 safety car with Zachary Robichon winning platinum and Victor Gomez the 4th winning gold. Cars are rolling on the first of a couple of formation laps. As Zachary mentioned, there's been rain overnight. How will that change the circuit conditions? We'll find out as we go green next at VIR. The lights are out on the Porsche GT3 safety car, or pace car as it is now. It'll be the safety car if we see it again. Gives us an opportunity to quickly check the grid for this second race of the IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup USA by Yokohama at VIR. The man of the moment, Zachary Robichon, for more speed, has dominated. He's on the left-hand side of the picture there, directly behind the safety car. Alongside him for Wright Motorsports is Maxwell Root. Then it's Trenton Estep and Roman De Angelis on the second row. The best of our Masters category, the 45 Rainbow car of Charlie Luck, is in position number 7, and our GT3 Gold Cup pole sitter is in a very creditable 10th position, Victor Gomez the 4th for NGT Motorsport. Well, the bright red car that is leading them round should pull right in a moment, and the green flag is being readied on the starter stand. Jeremy Shaw alongside me, John Hindhoff, and we're ready to go racing. The lineup looks absolutely perfect. You could not squeeze anything else in there. It's a very close formation as they're coming to a green flag that has not been shown yet, and now it has. Very slow indeed, and Zachary Robichon jumps away to a very handy advantage going down into the first corner. A right-hander here at VIR, dropping in behind him there. Trenton Estep looking to try and elbow his way through. Anthony Imperator with the black rear on the number 91 car. Maxwell Root just got shuffled back for a moment. Also coming through there, the 45, the multicoloured car. Further down the grid, that's Charlie. Look, and he gets spun around. Charlie gets hit and spun around between turn 4 and 5. Now, can he get that car going? Charlie, who has been riding high in the Masters category for the older drivers.
But did have an incident yesterday. He and Alan Metney got together yesterday, and that was the incident for which Charlie was held responsible in a 3 grid plates penalty. I think he just fought his way past Fred Pordad in the first couple of corners there, but then a little bit of contact coming out of turn 3. That was enough to spin Charlie around. It looks like he's got that car going again, but he did make at least light contact with the barrier, so we have to hope there's no damage. Let's have a look again at the replay.
I think he's got away with that. Down the inside was the number 5 car, of Rob Ferriol.
Yeah. Gold Cup car.
Yeah.
So we actually lost a place or two at the start of the
Correct.
Charlie.
Correct. Rob Ferriol sticking his nose in there. I think there was room to go side by side. Maybe Charlie just didn't see the car coming up the inside, or perhaps more properly, I should say, wasn't expecting it. That incident is under review. No Scott Wellham. The car not able to be repaired after that big incident a couple of weekends ago at Road America, and no Kurt Fazekas. Off has gone the 43 car, Mark Kavame. Another one of the Platinum Masters car. He's off to the side of the road on the grass, and that will be very slippery there. Don't think he's got the engine running at the moment on that light blue car. Now he's trying to start it up. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Zachary Robichon.
Wow.
How dare that happen? How very dare you, Maxwell Root. Goes through into the lead, and Zach Robichon. Now we're going to have to see a different Zachary Robichon, because Maxwell Root has leapt in early, struck while the iron was, well, actually not hot at all, whilst it was still cold.
Warming up.
Yes, exactly, just been plugged into the wall. Mixing his metaphors there, hang up. Yeah, that was a bold manoeuvre early on, even before I suspect the Yokohama tyres had come up to full operating pressures and temperatures. It may just be, Jeremy, that Maxwell had got the team to set the car up a little more aggressively on that Wright Motorsport Porsche for the early part of the race, in order to try and combat the early speed that we've seen from the white and blue, the Merspeed car, early on, because it's normally been Robichon who's been able to pull the pin and disappear early on.
Yeah, it has, and Max Root has really turned the corner this weekend. The 19-year-old from San Diego, you can see him moving that car around, just still trying to build heat into those Yokohama tyres. But he had a, oops, there's the, that's
Eduardo De Leon.
Yeah, the other JDX car. I thought for a moment it was Trenton Estep, but the gold panel on the side of the car, plus the car number, of course, car number 12. That's Eduardo De Leon from Mexico City, the other JDX car off the road there. Whoops, he had a big spin coming up.
He's lucky not to hit anything there.
Goodness, that's scary.
That's where Kurt Fazekas went off yesterday and completely destroyed his car. Now, looks like he might have stalled that one as well, but he's got it back going again, having had the world's fastest and most expensive lawnmower for a while, a flat 6 lawnmower. Oh, you see, I like the sound of that. Or I like the sound and the concept of that.
Full course caution.
Yeah, almost had to happen. I think that's for Mark Kavame's car rather than for Eduardo De Leon, who got going again. He was sitting just a couple of cars' widths off the side of the road at the top of the S's in a very precarious position, and he hasn't been able to get that car going again. He's exposed there, and the driver's side exposed to the cars coming up the hill there, Jeremy. No choice but for race control other than to get them. He's just over the top of a brow there as well. Now the yellows are out, which means everybody has to slow down and not overtake, but racing drivers being racing drivers, they'll look to take an advantage, and any small mistake there could have been disastrous if someone goes off the road onto that grass, because you just won't be able to steer past Mark Kavame's car. Smart move by our race director. And indeed, the safety car is behind the wall in the pit lane. That must have been close on the overlap there for Maxwell Root. How close was he to going by that Porsche GT3 safety car? may have to have another look at that, but Root got a good jump down into the first corner. Third position for Trenton Estep in the black and gold car. He's got Imperato right behind him. Anthony Imperato having a great run in terms of his performance, really getting to grips with this car, finding his feet with it. Fourth position at the moment. And then it's David Kolkman, who is... No, it's not. It's Roman De Angelis who's in there. David Kolkman next up. So the usual guys at the front of the field, the top six, Root, Robichon, Estep, Imperato, De Angelis and Kolkman. And then the first of the Masters category drivers is Alan Metney in that white iFly sponsored car, who's just a few Porsche lengths further back.
And this is the first time that Max Root has led in the GT3 Cup Challenge. A debutant this season with Wright Motorsports, a youngster, 19-year-old from San Diego, California, and he's coming off a pretty difficult weekend at Road America. He struggled there. He was 6th in both of the races. So
let's have a look, Jeremy, into the pit lane. Look, he's on the throttle early, Maxwell Root, and I think he's passed before it's in the pit lane. The pylon's there. That might get him. Now, where is the safety car line, or is the safety car line the pit entry line? That's the question. Now, the drivers will know that because they'll have been told it in the driver briefing. Yep. We didn't have time to go to that this weekend, but that definitely being looked at, I'm sure, there. But Maxwell Root has got a great restart, whichever way you look at it. And again, Jeremy, look how quickly that Wright Motorsport red, white and blue car is hooking up for Max Root and sending him down the road. And in fact, if anything, it looks to me as though Zachary Robichon is more worried about Trenton Estep behind him than he is on chasing down Maxwell. This is going to throw the press room into an absolute frenzy. They're just used to writing Zachary Robichon sweeps Porsche weekend. Yeah. They're going to have a new template. Yeah, it looked that way after yesterday, and certainly after Road America that was the case. But yeah, you're right. That Wright Motorsports car really is hooked up right from the start. You can see it launching off turn 1, off turn 4 here on the first couple of laps. It's the same here at the restart. The key, of course, is that car going to be as good towards the end of the race? That we will find out, because yesterday Max fell back in the closing stages from Zachary Robichon. But coming off that difficult weekend at Road America for Max, he really needed this. It's been a really good weekend for him. Qualified on the front row for both of the races. That's the first time he's done that, and this is another first for him today. Absolutely taking the lead in a great pass at turn 1 over Zach Robichon, and now he's going to try and extend that advantage. Car looks absolutely mighty through the S's. No jerky movements at all. The car sitting very, very squat and flat on the road. And you would actually, when you see that car going up there, you would think that was a straight piece of track surface, and it's far from that. It's not flat either. So the car clearly being set up par excellence by Wright Motorsport, one of the teams who specialise in Porsches, run in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship as well, of course, with Pat Long and Christina Nielsen. Often have a second car in the GT Daytona category as well. Now, Robichon, having rid himself of the attentions of Trenton Estep, has just put in the fastest lap of the race, 1:49.9, and is immediately, now that he's not looking in his mirror, now that's very interesting to me. Robichon took a couple of laps to just get his car the way he wanted it, and that we've typically not seen that. We've seen Zach push the pedal really hard to start with and get away, but he's taken a couple of laps now and he's closing down on the lead. And meantime, in the gold category, Victor Gomez, who has been the class of that class this year, had a couple of bits of bad luck, including as yet unexplained engine cutout when he was completely dominating at Road America last time out, which undoubtedly cost him the win. He's now battling at the bottom end of the top 10. Mike Levidas ahead of him in the 36 car, and the 56 car of David Baker, the blue and white car, is behind him. And those two guys are platinum class cars, so strictly speaking, those cars have more performance than the NGT Porsche that he's driving, which is one of the older model, the Generation 1 cars, working hard through the Oak Tree turn, just balancing the car. Little corrective steering inputs as he drags up to the back of the 36 of Mike Levitas ahead of him.
Yeah, Mike Levitas is, he ended up winning the Masters class yesterday. He's had more wins than anybody in the season now, actually, in Masters. Michael is a veteran in this championship. That was win number 5 for him on the season. And he missed 2 of the races. He missed the weekend at Barber Motorsports Park, so he's not really in championship threat, Michael Levitas, but massive amount of experience in these cars, in that car number 36. And Victor Gomez in that slightly older Gold Cup version is doing a really good job to hang on to the tail of Michael Levitas.
He's got a good run out of turn 17 and onto the curving front straight. And he's getting a little bit of a drag there. That's a very good lap indeed by Victor Gomez. Indeed, it's his best, a 152.210. Very proudly displaying his allegiance to Puerto Rico.
I am the trusty co-pilot. The moving part that moves all 2,000 parts. I am the translator who interprets the road, the permission to take the scenic route, and the guide that gets you there safely. I'm not just any tire. I am a Yokohama.
The all-new IMSA app, whether at home or trackside. Get behind the scenes with team and driver access all the time. It's the ultimate in fan experience. Choose your favorite manufacturer and strap in for the ride. With live scoring data, radio commentary, and session results in real time, it's just like you're there in Winner's Circle. The all-new IMSA app. Download it today.
Jeremy, if you were in his ear now, I know exactly what you'd be saying. You'd be saying, focus forward, young Max. And that's exactly what he's doing. Didn't feel the need to defend going into turn 1 there. Stayed on the racing line, hit his braking point, which was a tad later, actually, than Zachary Robichon. Robichon is, and off at the top of the hill. The 74 car has gone around. Oh dear, the red, white and blue.
Yeah, missed the last round at Road America. Back again this weekend. No, he's another guy who's on a steep learning curve this season, as are a bunch of these guys joined the championship this season. Really enthusiastic and just got a little bit better himself there. That's at the exit of the roller coaster, perhaps, is it?
Correct, he's coming down the hill towards the hog pen. Probably took a little bit too much inside curb on the middle left-hand portion. He got on the brakes just a bit too much. Just unsettled the car. You're leaning on the car at that point, but it's all downhill from there, literally. And he's gone backwards into the protective tyre barrier. He's got it going. He comes straight into the pits. No need for a full course caution. So that means Root, Robichon still battling it out. Then Estep, Imperato, De Angelis and Kolkman are all line astern, battling for third on down. The leaders come to the scene of that incident. Interesting that Max Root does ride that same curb there that put the number 74 Kerr car off, but he does it much earlier in the piece. And what that does is it's a much more progressive riding of that left-hand curb. Also noticeable that Zachary Robichon doesn't touch that curb at all. Down into turn 1, under half an hour to go.
Does tend to unsettle the car, doesn't it, if you do use that curb? So you've got to be super confident in the car, but because it's a critical corner, it leads you on to one of the fastest parts of the course, the long front straight. So you don't want to be losing too much any time at all coming onto that straight.
Yeah, the last thing you want to be doing is getting crossed up before that last right-hander, turn 17, which is actually effectively a double right onto the straight. Up the S's now, and this for me is where Maxwell Root's car looks so well planted as he turns in, and another spinner, this time at turn 1. It's the number 27, that's Sebastian Carrazzo, and he's going to have trouble getting that car up from driver's left on the outside of the corner on the wet grass. He might have to reverse a little bit and take a run at it, which is exactly what he's doing. Get it back into first, keep the revs down, hard to do. Spins the wheels, get it up into second, and he's going to get back onto the track there. That was smart thinking by Carrazzo in the highlighter yellow Porsche Cup car. Leaders back up to the roller coaster. I was just about to say, through the S's, that number 7 from Wright Motorsport looks like the difference between when you have a slot car that's got magnets in the back, which I always think is a bit of a cheat, and one that doesn't. It's just sitting there, and some of that's the setup, but quite a lot of that, Jeremy, is how progressive the driver is on all of the inputs. Steering, throttle, any little slight drag of the brake that he needs up there. He's really got that part of the circuit nailed. And indeed, last time around, he was the fastest of anyone in this race through that first sector.
He was, and interestingly, Trenton Estep was fastest through the final sector, but he got a really good run there for Zach Robichaud coming onto the front straight and towards turn 1, but Max Root just driving the perfect line through there, no way through. This is a really difficult track on which to overtake, particularly in closely matched cars, because the track is always sort of kind of moving from one to the other, or the racing line kind of drifts from one side of the track to the other. It's very, very difficult to make a pass. You've got to be significantly quicker.
And it's also a track that has a great variety of corners, fast sweeping, high energy corners, then slightly slower corners where you've got to get your line absolutely right. No greater Porsche driving exponent than Bob Wallach, much missed. When he was doing driver coaching, would always say, listen, being fast in the fast stuff, that's expected. But if you can be fast in the slow stuff, because percentage-wise, you're in the slower corners longer, if you can be 2 or 3% better in a slow corner than your competitors, that's a big advantage. Down the back straight again. Zachary Robichaud just pokes out to the left-hand side to say to Max Root, I am here. 74, the Kerr car back out again, but that car is now trailing part of the rear bumper and valance after its close encounter of the tyre barrier kind. He'll have to come in and have that removed. The black and orange flag, the meatball flag, will be being showed for that car. Don't want that piece of debris being left on the racing line. Probably, I would expect his team actually will be telling him about that. Remember, he went off having clipped that curb a couple or 3 laps ago onto the wet grass. Yokohama made great tyres, but slick tyres, wet grass, oh, and he has dropped a bit of the bodywork. That's annoying. Hopefully he'll now come into the pit lane and have the rest of that rear bumper, which is now junk, just pulled off by his team. He's already laps down. That's on the back straight, that piece of debris. Has he been called in by his team? I think he has. That smart move. Now the problem is that debris on the track and the back straight is right in the middle of the back straight as he hits the speed limiter on the pit lane. Zachary Robichaud pressuring again in second, just pulls another half a tenth or so closer, and meantime behind, third, check that, 4th and 5th position, Imperato in the white, black and orange car, right up behind him, Roman De Angelis in the white and green, and they're battling for 4th position. Still leading gold category is the number 25, that's Victor Gomez. And still at the front of the field, this battle between these two young drivers aiming to make a career, I'm sure, in motorsport. And it's still Maxwell Root from Robichaud. Very interesting to me to see who's doing better where, Jeremy.
Very much so, and Root again, that was his fastest lap of the race, a 1:49.23 did, yeah. It's not quite as quick as Zach Robichaud did a few laps ago, but that was his best lap, and you know, that's what he's doing. He's just doing a really, really good job of being consistent. Good, you know, pretty good consistency in his laps, all within a couple of tenths of a second. That's good on a 3.25 mile racetrack.
The man having the quietest and most lonely race at the moment, considering he's in 3rd, is Trenton Estep. Got about a 1.5 seconds to these two battling for the lead as they go round the long double apex right-hander where the oak tree used to be, and he's 2 and a bit seconds ahead of the Imperato and De Angelis battle. David Coltman's dropped back from those two. He was just 3 or 4 tenths behind, and he's dropped back an extra couple of seconds there, so he might have had a little bit of a drama in the number 71, the Park Place, the dark grey car with the red and white stripes on it. Estep then at the top of the roller coaster at the moment in that JDX car. A bit of a frustrating season, I suspect, for Trenton Estep. Once again, Jeremy, he's shown a lot of promise.
Oh, no, I mean, no, he's doing exactly what he needs to do. He's got a clear championship lead right now, so the key for him, you know, Zach Robichon is not in the championship. He only joined it last race. He's not worried about him. Max Root is a lot of points behind him. So for Trenton right now, he's just focusing on the big picture. As gaining more experience in these cars, fine, because he's still in his second year of racing at this sort of level. He's only 18 years of age, and you know, he just focused on getting that championship. So don't do anything silly. That's the key at this stage.
And that actually, in fairness,
having said that, you're absolutely right.
He'll be frustrated in the car that he's not been let off the leash.
Yes,
that was what I should have said.
I saw him this morning, and he was a bit quiet this morning. You know, he was getting keyed up for the race. That's fine, but he certainly wants to win every race if he possibly can. But Jeremy Dale and Harrison Bricks there, and all the guys
turning him down.
JDX Racing, including his dad, by the way, are tuning him down, saying, look, just focus on the big picture. I told his dad too. He said, look, you know, Trenton's used to winning championships. He did it in go-karting. He knows the big picture, but he'd much rather challenge for the front, and you know, he'll get plenty of opportunities to do that. And he's already won several races this season. Has Trenton won 3 races and been on the podium in all bar one, and that is sort of
that's championship winning form.
It is.
Well, the frustration of not being able to race for the win will disappear if at Road Atlanta and the Matul Petit Le Mans he gets up and is given the keys to a Porsche 911 for a year, which is one of the championship prizes in the IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama.
Absolutely.
Victor Gomez still pressuring the Gen 2 cars around him, and David Baker feeling the pressure from the Puerto Rican behind him. But at the front of the field, Maxwell Root is soaking up the pressure. Now he might have to defend a little bit. He hasn't gone to the right-hand side. He'll have to hold his line now. He drifts just a little bit more. Side drafting from Zachary Robichon. That was a brilliant bit of driving by both, but especially by the white and blue Porsche driver in the shape of the 19 car of Zachary Robichon. Got a great run out of the final corner, maybe a mile an hour or 2 quicker as he came out, and he got to the right-hand side early. Max Root couldn't defend at that point without starting to block. And at that point, as soon as Robichon got alongside Jeremy, got a little bit of a side draft, and that just pushed him forward to give him position into the right hand. Oh, what a mistake there by Maxwell Root, maybe just taking his eye off the ball a little bit and ran slightly. I mean, you're talking of maybe a wheel's width too far on the right-hand side of the road.
Yes, and there's a little bit of a dip in the road there. He got himself off the asphalt onto the dirt there, and there's a little bit of a dip that caused the car to slide sideways. That'll cost him a bit of momentum going up the hill. And all of a sudden, Trenton Estep is pretty much with him there. But once again, for Zachary Robichon, that was that last corner. Hogman, he's so good through that last couple of corners, and there was just a slightest hint of a mistake, and that's all it took for Robichon to be able to take advantage.
Oh, there's not actually a curb there, Jeremy.
No,
it's grass right up to the edge, and as you say, just a little depression there. The pass was set up coming out of turn number 17, and by, well, just after the start-finish line, it was all over.
Yeah.
Maxwell Root could do nothing. It's a textbook pass. It's exactly what happens here at VIR. Brilliant run out of the final corner is what set it up.
Indeed, and Max just ran a little bit wide there. It cost him a little bit of momentum. He probably had to lift just a fraction on the edge of the exit of the corner, and that's all it took for Robichon to get alongside, or get his nose part way alongside, and from there, with those kinks to the inside, he's got a shorter way to go as well.
45 Charlie, look. Now, is he in some strife as well? Doesn't seem to be running as fast as he should. Damage to the left-hand side of that car. He's been off at the top of the circuit, up at the Oak Tree turn, and may have done some damage. It's a fairly innocuous-looking spin, but may have done some damage as he came back on, because there's definitely something hanging down behind the front wheel, or alongside the front wheel, underneath that car on the left-hand side. And Trenton Estep sniffs second place here.
That's exactly what we talked about at the beginning of the show, isn't it? And we could see that Max's car was just super fast right off the bat. That's what Trenton Estep was kind of trying to do to his car to make it work better earlier in the race. But as we can see now, that's fine if it does work early in the race, but the key is to make sure it's working just as well at the end as well. And that's what Zachary Robichon's car, yes, he might not have been quite as quick at the start, but now he's looking super fast, super consistent, and is edging away. And Maxwell Root now is coming under pressure. This is the 12th round of the championship. This is the first time since round 5 at Mid-Ohio we've actually had any changes for the lead.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, that's a great stat, Jeremy. Well done in looking back at the lap charts there. Couple of two-car battles at the sharper end of the field. Max Root and Trenton Estep are battling for second. That's the 7 red and white car and the 3 black and gold. Behind them, Imperator and De Angelis are battling for the next couple of spots, 5th and 6th. Imperator has it in the white, black, red and gold Porsche, and the white and green of Roman De Angelis is next up. David Coltman in a rather lonely 6th place, but the battle at the front of the Platinum Masters is starting to get interesting. Metney was being caught by Fred Purdad, but has just pulled out half a second or so. Meanwhile, side by side, oh, big lock up by Max Root. He'll be lucky to hang on to this. He does not hang on to it. I wasn't sure there. He had to come off the brakes. He'd locked up the left front Yokohama going into the roller coaster turn, or the first part of the roller coaster turn. He got off the brake pedal, had to release it, so that he had some steering input. At that point, he's going far too quickly, kept the car on the hard part of the track, and Estep says, thanks very much, I'll have second position. 2 seconds between Robichon and Estep. Can't see Estep pushing too hard to try and catch Estep, the championship leader. Robichon now looking for 4 in a row in 4 outings in this championship.
Yeah, that's right, and he was able to win again today. That'll take his, in terms of laps led for the season, that'll probably move him into the overall lead.
Really?
I think, actually, wow. Yes, because coming into this weekend, Roman De Angelis has done 76 laps, Zachary Robichon had led 40.
Just a little bit of pressure being put on to young Max Root by Estep, and maybe that is beginning to tell now, or maybe the car just not quite as much to Maxwell Root's liking as it was at the beginning of the race. In gold, Victor Gomez still late in the Rainbow 25 car from Rob Ferriol in second, and Bill Smith in the Tangerine number 42, the Kung Fu car, in 3rd position. In Masters, Metney and Purdad with Levitas right there as well are 1, 2 and 3 in position 7, 8 and 9, 99, 20 and 35.
Really good battle between that trio.
David Baker in the red, white and blue, number 25, has still got the gold leader behind him. Another great drive by the young Puerto Rican, Victor Gomez. And he's doing what he needs to do, Jeremy. He'll be slightly frustrated that he can't get past David Baker. That car a little quicker in a straight line, a little more power on the Gen 2 cars, a bit different aero as well. But he's doing what he needs to do. He's got a car between himself and Rob Ferriol, who's having a pretty decent weekend.
He certainly is. Certainly is. And he has a busy weekend too. He drove yesterday also in the Renault Tire Sports Car Challenge race, and had a good run there. He and his teammate DJ Fitzpatrick, they were running right up to the front for a while.
Yeah, very different car, front-wheel drive Golf TCR car. Meantime, our leader, Zachary Robichon, has just put the best final sector of anyone in, and he's coming around to lap the number 74, the chrome red, white and blue machine. Has he seen him? No, he hasn't, and he's touched them. Did he touch him there? But certainly the leader's gone off, and he's ripped off the little spoiler underneath the front of the car, and that, even with 11 and a half minutes to go, that's a problem, a big problem for Zachary Robichon. That is crucial to the front aero of that car, and he's going to pick up a whole armful of push there. He has to now. Oh, he just wasn't seen at all by Kerr.
Well, he was seen at the very last minute by Tom Kerr. Then Tom Kerr tried to get out of the way, but unfortunately at that time, yes, he moved to the right just to try and let him go through. But by that stage, Zach was already committed to go to the right-hand side, so he had to go off into the grass. And it's a really difficult part of the racetrack there. Once again, the racing line goes from one edge of the asphalt to the other as a road kinks there.
I reckon that's the race just gone there.
Well,
there's no way he can hold on to the lead.
Well, the thing is, he's got 2.5 seconds now, and the other guys have got... Well,
Not anymore.
No, he hasn't. No, sorry, you're right.
Not anymore. He's got about a second, if that, and he's got a car that won't want to turn.
I am the trusty co-pilot. The moving part that moves all 2,000 parts. I am the translator who interprets the road, the permission to take the scenic route, and the guide that gets you there safely. I'm not just any tire. I am a Yokohama.
The all-new IMSA app, whether at home or trackside. Get behind the scenes with team and driver access all the time. It's the ultimate in fan experience. Choose your favorite manufacturer and strap in for the ride. With live scoring data, radio commentary, and session results in real time, it's just like you're there in Winner's Circle. The all-new IMSA app. Download it today.
Remember, the black and gold car is the championship leader. He does not want to get involved in a Schmozzle or any RG or indeed Bargy.
And this is Eduardo de Leon, who is Trenton Estep's teammate. Yes, he did.
That was very heads-up driving.
Telegraphed that too. He did a really good job.
Yes, he did. Estep right in the wheel tracks of the leader. Eduardo de Leon, golf clap for you, my son. Brilliant stuff. He's had a couple of incidents in this race, but that was very, very aware driving. Now, has Zachary Robertson...
Maxwell Root locked up there on the inside front as well.
Well, that's the second time he's locked that wheel up. That'll be doing that more often. It looks to me as though Robichon's got his head round the car not turning. Maybe he can hold on, but I can't believe that he will be able to. It depends how much Estep wants to win here, Jeremy.
Yes, you're right.
Almost got alongside him coming through turn one, and then he hit the inside curb and dropped off. That's a fine save by Estep. So here's the situation then, with 7 minutes to go, just under. The man of the moment, Zachary Robichon, who is unbeaten in his outings in the IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama, has fought his way to the front, having had the young pretender, Maxwell Root, beat him to the front of the field in the opening laps. He's fought his way past, Root's dropped down to third, Estep's come through to second in the black and gold car, but in lapping a back marker, the blue and white car has ripped off that little piece of rubber that runs across the front of the Porsche, and now he's struggling with push, with understeer. He will be overheating the front Yokohama tyres on that car. So he'll be trying to drive round it, turning in, flicking the car in, maybe using the throttle a bit more. Then what happens? You use the rear tyres more, and they're already 39 minutes old. Estep is the championship leader. Question for me here is what's been said to him on the radio. Take it easy, take the points. There's no need for you to win.
That's right, but he knows he's faster, and he's a youngster, you know, he's 18 years of age. He wants to win the race. He wants to win as many races as he can in this championship to be what he would consider a worthy champion.
It's a real struggle for Robichon up through the S's, and he just can't get the car turned into the first part of Oak Tree, but he squares off the second part. That's really, really good driving, and he's adapted his lines. He's adapted the way he's driving that Porsche to get round the issue. Now, in a straight fight, and certainly if he'd started the race like that, there's no way that he can hang on for 45 minutes, but he only had 8 minutes to go when that happened.
Yes, that's right, and you know, so he's just got to drive smart. He's got to modify the lines going into the corners. He's got to be slow into the corners, but he's got to make sure he's fast out of the corners. That is the way his only chance of holding off Trenton Estep here, and particularly that corner there, which is where he had the advantage earlier on. That advantage is now gone, of course, but if he can be slow enough in there and still keep Estep behind him, he's going to be okay. And on this sort of racetrack where it is difficult to pass, you know, that plays to his advantage. But I tell you what, though, there's two cars behind him and not far back either. Roman DeAndres, Nancy Imperato, DeAngelis just found
gone
his way past
by. Just
Imperator.
gone by. That's a change of position for fourth. Roman De Angelis, who's been battling with the number 91 for the last 20 minutes, maybe half an hour, and he is gaining. He's got a quick car at the moment. David Coltman's 5 seconds further back. He's out of this fight for now. But Zachary Robichon, of course, is slowing everyone down. He's the cork in the bottle. 4 minutes to go, and it's all heating up. Root with De Angelis right in his wheel tracks. Root this time goes all the way to the left-hand side. He's learned a little bit, but De Angelis still thinks he can find a way down the inside. At the head of the field, maybe a little mistake there by Estep coming down 17 last time around, and he's lost ground from the leader. This one and one more, I reckon, Jeremy. White flag next time around, question mark?
Yes.
Oh, Estep goes wide, but that's because Bill Smith is in the picture in the bright orange Porsche.
But again, that cost Trenton Esset just a little bit of time.
Oh, well played, Bill.
Yeah.
Well played, Bill. Imperato in 5th position, just losing touch with the guys ahead through the traffic. That'll be annoying him a little bit. Oh, this is magnificent, Jeremy. Magnificent. Has Estep shot his balls in terms of the run for the lead? Well, I think he's losing rear grip as well now.
Could be, and Zach has just, he's modified his lines. He's settled into the fact he knows the car isn't as fast as it was early on, so he's just managing his pace. He's got a goodly amount of experience in these cars now. Been driving the Platinum cars for 2 years, as has Trenton. But he's got a lot of experience. He knows how to manage the car during the race.
Very, very impressive. I was sure that Robichon would not be able to hold on the last 8.5 minutes without that front splitter. 47 has gone off.
99, Alan Metney has gone off on that last lap.
Oh, he was leading in the Platinum class, but he had Fred Podard all over him, and Mike Levitas was right there as well. He's gone through into 2nd, and Metney's dropped down to, what, 4th, 5th position?
Yeah.
4th position in the Masters class. White flag is out, 3.25 miles to go, and barring any problems for the Mo-Speed driver, Zachary Robichon, then the template we were talking about earlier on, down in the press room, will be rolled out again. And Robichon sweeps the weekend, but this, Jeremy, was not the same kind of race that the previous 3 have been. Yes, he was quick, but he had to fight for the lead, and then he's had to completely rethink how to drive that Mo-Speed Porsche.
Yeah, and that last lap, 1 minute 50.2, that was his best lap
since he lost the splitter.
Since he lost the splitter, yeah. At the right time in the race, he came up to take the white flag. Just got one more lap of the 3.27 mile circuit to go to win victory number 4.
Well, I would have bet against that, so I doff my cap. Chapeau to Robichon. There's really no way he should have been able to keep that car going as quickly as it has in Gold Cup. Victor Gomez crosses the line to see the white flag there. In Masters, it looks like Fred Podard might have done enough, but Mike Levitas is right there.
Yeah, and they're turning laps within a couple of tenths of a second of their fastest of the race.
Zachary Robichon passing the stricken number 47 car at the side of the road. It's been there a couple of laps now, no need for recovery. Race direction has let them go to the end. Trenton Estep continues his championship charge in 2nd, but it's Mr. Perfect. Zachary Robichon, 4 outings in the IMSA GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama, and 4 victories. None harder worked for and more richly deserved, I would say, than this one at VIR.
Very, very impressive. Another really good lap to finish off there. 1 minute 50.0 for Zach Robichon. Trenton Esset was within a second, but has to settle for 2nd. Yet another podium finish, though, for the youngster from San Antonio, Texas.
Roman De Angelis up into 3rd position in the closing stages, ahead of Anthony Imperato. What happened to Max Root? He dropped down to 6th position on that last lap. As through past the 47 car, which is rolling again, goes the battle in Platinum Masters. Fred Podard just gone by, and I think he's going to hold on. Yes, he has. And Victor Gomez is coming through to take the checkered flag now on the front straight, with Alan Metni behind him, so he's got no gold cars around him. He will take another victory in that Rainbow 25 car. 10th overall for Victor Gomez. Well, that was a cracker, Jeremy, right to the very end.
I am the trusty co-pilot. The moving part that moves all 2,000 parts. I am the translator who interprets the road, the permission to take the scenic route, and the guide that gets you there safely. I'm not just any tire. I am a Yokohama.
The all-new IMSA app, whether at home or trackside. Get behind the scenes with team and driver access all the time. It's the ultimate in fan experience. Choose your favorite manufacturer and strap in for the ride. With live scoring data, radio commentary, and session results in real time, it's just like you're there in Winner's Circle. The all-new IMSA app. Download it today.
What a few weeks for Zachary Robichon. He really is king of the GT3 Porsche world in the USA and Canada at the moment. Let's just confirm the victory, the 4th in a row for Zach Robichon from More Speed, from Trenton Estep and Roman De Angelis. Fred Podad in 7th wins the Masters category, and Victor Gomez, the 4th, holds on to 10th position for NGT Motorsport and takes the Gold Cup class.
Yeah, that one was a little bit harder than I would have liked. I was a little bit conservative on the first lap. I don't know if it was me coming out of the P3 car last night, but I just didn't feel right in the groove at the beginning, and Root got by. He made a heck of a move, very clean pass, and he was really quick the first few laps, but I noticed about 4 or 5 laps in that we could manage the gap to Trenton behind us, and he was starting to make mistakes, so I knew it was just a matter of time if I stayed close enough that he'd make a mistake. And eventually, I also didn't want to do like a dive bomb move in a turn 2. It's it's not my championship to get involved in. I know he's up there in the standings, so he made a mistake out of hog pen, and I was able to get a good run down the front straight. And then after that, it looked like we were in the clear. The car really came alive in the clear air, and I think we were going to be able to pull away. And then, call it what it is. I made a mistake. The back marker didn't see me. It's my responsibility to get by him, and I dropped the wheel just over the end of the curve. I didn't think it'd be a big deal, but as soon as I did it, I knew there was something wrong, and front splitter came off. So then after that, I knew that Trent was going to come hard, but I wasn't about to quit then because, why would we quit? So after that, it was just about placing the car strategically. We were still be able to quick in the slow sectors, but in the fast stuff, I was really struggling. So, I pushed harder at the end, and I really had to work for that one.
Trenton Estep with a 23-point lead over Roman De Angelis, David Coltman and Max Root, 3rd and 4th in the platinum category. As far as gold is concerned, Victor Gomez pulling out a very handy lead over Rob Ferriol and Bill Smith. Not a great weekend for Kurt Fazekas, down in 4th position. Let's hear from Victor Gomez, the 4th.
I couldn't be happier, honestly. Now we have a 65-point gap from P2. This is the type of weekend I was waiting for. 2 first places. I felt really comfortable inside the car. I was hitting my points, doing really good lap times compared to the platinums. I think we were 2 seconds off, which is right where we want to be. So I'm just waiting for Sonoma and Atlanta to bring it in.
As Victor says, we're off to the West Coast next. Sonoma Raceway is the next challenge for the IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. It's been a fabulous weekend here at VIR. My thanks to Jeremy Shaw and the production crew, both here at the track and up at Charlotte. And we'd also like to say thank you to all of our volunteer officials, marshals, track crew, and everyone who has made this such a brilliant weekend. I'm John Hindhaugh. Hope you'll want to join us again for some more great Flat 6 Porsche action in the IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of the International Motorsports Association. We would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.